Terrible Swift Sword by E.S. Wynne, Ellie Valkyrie. Word of Blake Compound Thatcher's Rest near Circinus Federation Periphery, 7th of February 3082, 09:45 hours. I close my eyes when the arms come off. They are not mine. They are an illusion that ties me to this body, to this place, this life. Are you sure you want to do this? My lover asks me as she carries the prosthetics away and hangs them on the rack with the rest of the tools that support my existence. Even with my eyes closed, I can still see her. In my mind's eye, Diana's soft, androgynous beauty is enough to make me smile even now, even as she unhooks my prosthetic legs and leaves me hanging in my harness, my wire-woven mind supported by a torso full of augmented organs and little else. Blake's hope was that humanity would not descend into barbarism, I remind her, and I feel the spirit of the word fill me as I speak. Phalanx's decree to detain all of the unmarried women on the planet in his breeding camps has forced the issue here. If we do not stand up to him now, who will? I know, she says. Aurelia, I hate seeing what the Minotaur does to you. Instead of arguing, instead of denying her perspective, I smile softly. I can tell from her tone that she understands my need to act, and that's all that matters. Even with the meager offering of advanced technology that our people were able to carry to this dark corner of the periphery after Terra fell to Stone's coalition, it's a miracle that a bandit king like Phalanx hasn't turned his back on us before now. Knowing that fully 3/4 of our base's staff is composed of unmarried women gives him all of the justification he needs to move against us, to take advantage of the scattered, cut-off state of the word of Blake in the wake of the fall and seize what assets he can from our mostly empty hangars. It doesn't matter that our adepts have helped him restore some of the planet's ancient and ailing electronics infrastructure. It doesn't matter that we don't even have a complete battle mech to throw at him, just some broken chassis and crates of half-damaged omnipod equipment. Phalanx is a bandit king. He'll rob us of what he can, and then justify the theft with some fake moral position to pull the populace in line behind him. We are one, I tell Diana as she starts to attach the leads and the VDNI cables to the meat that houses the fire of my willing soul. She takes my words as reassurance, as proof of our love, and I let her. The only thing that stokes need within me anymore, after the fall of Terra, after the fall of the Master, is the warm embrace of the protomech that is my true body. There is room in my heart still for the love that I have for her, but it does not manifest like the excitement of wearing steel. The thrill and rightness of being wrapped up in my true body. Plugs thread their way into my skin, into my mind, opening empty sensory channels that will soon enough hum with life. I keep my eyes closed through the whole process, unwilling to submit to the tyranny of the perceptions of the sense organs I was born with. The way Diana touches me as she connects me to the interface rig feels like reverence. Feels like an echo of the way she touches the machines she maintains for the word. Her fingertips dance across worn, chromed plugs, across plates of steel wrapped in skin, tracing their way along the thick muscles of my back, muscles still strong with the memories of a life when I ran and fought with my own flesh and bone limbs. I remember how inspired I felt when I gave those limbs up to the word, when I surrendered myself willingly to the spirit of Blake and sacrificed what I had been born with to rise again as the Minotaur, as a powerful and terrifying protomech. They called me Mane Domini that day and ever after, and in every way I have sought to live as a hand of the Master, to save others, to save those who cannot walk between the world of flesh and steel as I do, to save those like my lover, Diana. I have chosen to become something monstrous, something terrifying and awe-inspiring. All that I am, I have built out of love. The last VDNI lead slides into the plug at the base of my spine, and Diana wraps me in the crackling sheets of a cooling gel harness, There is a hiss, a rush of air, and sharp smells. These are the sensations of the Minotaur's body opening to accept me, and I get so excited as they wash over me that I'm practically vibrating in my harness. I know Diana hates the musky, medical smell of the Minotaur, but it is a smell I'm used to. It is a smell that I crave. To Diana, it is the lingering scent of the clan Smoke Jaguar pilot they had to hose out of the protomech when it was captured. To me, it is the smell of my body, heavy and real. It is the smell of the steel sleeve that wraps around my soul. It is a herald of the transition that I am about to undergo, the translation of meat and mind to unyielding metal. My harness clacks into place. Tubes are fed into the harness, into me, and as the steel plates of the Minotaur close in, I hear the sound of a welder snapping to life, hissing and spitting against the plating, sealing me away into tight, familiar darkness. There is a hum, a charge to the lines that bind me to the protomech. Sense data floods into me, overriding and bypassing the meat senses of my body, replacing them with high-fidelity, electric truth. Pulling in a deep, resonating breath, I open my eyes. I look out over the hangar as I flex my hands, tightening the myomer muscles in my arms. Diana resolves out of a haze of pixels as a tiny shape beneath me, and I kneel down before her, spreading one of my huge, steely hands so she can press her own into the center of it. "Hello there," she says, and I can't tell if the tears rimming the edges of her red eyes are tears of gratitude or tears of remorse. The adepts in the white, hooded robes of the Word of Blake approach from the sides as I lock eyes with my lover, watching her as she runs her hands across my steely red and white patterned arms. Her tiny fingers touch the lines of the sword of the Word, where they are stenciled like a tattoo on the inside of my arm. Other marks on my smooth, armored chest list my name, my rank as one of the Mane Domini, and beneath these, a purple handprint with a pink butterfly in the middle of it. Know that I love you, Aurelia. I do. My voice comes as a thunderous whisper as I bring my palm up close to her face. I don't touch her. I don't try to be gentle with these hands meant to crush and make war. She leans into my palm instead, resting against it, and when she looks up at me, the tears run free. And in her smile, I can see how desperately true it is when she says that she loves me. The two adepts sing hymns of the Word while they wait, having reverence for this quiet, sacred moment. When Diana steps away, ushering them forward, the two adepts raise their hands, their red-hemmed sleeves falling away from censers heavy with smoking incense. Smiling, lifted by purpose, I savor the scent, the data of the cedar and sandalwood smoke as it washes over me. I am an instrument of the Master, the adepts remind me with their song. I am a sacred sword. I am Jerome Blake's will made manifest, and I will see his work done, or I will perish among the pyres I make of my enemies this day. When I rise to my full 4 meters of height again, the adepts lower their heads and slowly back away, singing as they go. Sensor checks tell me everything I need to know about the status of systems. Everything is in the green. Catching my reflection in a puddle from the last storm as I turn toward the hangar door, I marvel at my true body, at this Minotaur's fierce, bull-headed countenance, strong and topped with a pair of long, intimidating horns. The twin weapons slung across my back are treasures of appropriated clan technology, 2 extended-range medium lasers, and their muzzles are rimmed with rings of blood-red paint. As soon as my feet touch the tarmac outside of the hangar, my mind starts searching through the signal bands, picking out frequencies tied to King Phalix's peacekeepers. One by one, I gather them up and bounce between them, searching for the best place to make my stand. 3 units of enforcers and technicals are making their rounds in Corundum, the closest thing the planet of Thatcher's Rest has to a city, probably extorting protection money and calling it taxes. A 4th unit is running a patrol outside of the city, and there's enough chatter coming in from them for me to realize that they've already started rounding up targets for King Phalanx's breeding camps. 10 seconds of listening and bounce data from the word satellites in orbit tells me everything I need to know about the unit's exact location and force composition. Road 57, 3 clicks west of the Ugal Mineral Holdings, 2 APCs, 3 technicals, 10 enforcers, 7 captives. That's where I'll make my stand, I decide. That's where I'll put an end to this. My muscles are cold and stiff from sitting too long, but they warm up easily enough as I throw myself toward my target. 45 kilometers per hour is easy, but squeezing that extra bit of speed out of the protomech only comes when the myomer is warm. Fire of purpose drives me through the dust and the sagebrush on a straight line for Road 57, and in less than 15 minutes I'm ahead of the enforcers, planting my feet firmly on the ferrocrete while I wait for them to reach me. The APCs stop slow, stopping in the heat haze 127 meters from me. Chatter picks up across the frequencies I'm monitoring. Confusion, requests for instructions, arguments about what the hell I am, whether my body is battle armor or a full battle mech. Even after they ID my protomech as advanced clan tech painted in Blakest colors, the only answer I get is a heat bloom as the weapon systems on the APCs come online. Peacekeepers of King Phalanx, I am Adept Aurelia of the Word of Blake. My voice booms across the ferrocrete, across the APCs and through the scraggly trees hugging the road. If my Minotaur had teeth, I would surely be bearing them. I offer you one chance to live. Let your captives go, then leave this place. There's hardly a moment of pause before the bullets start flying. Machine gun rounds rattle against my thighs and chest as I trigger my jump jets and fling myself sideways into a stand of trees. The medium lasers mounted over my shoulders flare with blinding fire before my feet are even on the ground again, cutting holes through the cabin of the nearest APC and leaving a mess of running slag where the driver and gunner used to be. The machine gun on the other APC tries to track me through the trees, but I'm quicker, letting the trunks and the limbs catch the bullets instead. The enforcers on the open channel are shrieking, screaming orders over each other. In the chaos, I leap out of the trees and land squarely on top of the other APC, ripping the machine gun out of the chassis and beating it against the cab until the driver and the gunner break and run screaming into the woods. The technicals behind me are abandoned just as quickly, left running and sitting on the tarmac, their mounted rifles hanging, belted ammunition swinging free. Just as well, I decide. Crushing the locks on the doors of the 2 downed APCs, I point the women inside toward the idling trucks, and then watch over them until they're gone, tires squealing and throwing up dust. Other frequencies catch fire with conversation between enforcer units. Feeds from word satellites pick up heat and exhaust blooms as the massive combustion engines on the only pair of Scorpion light tanks on the entire planet kick over and roll out of their sagging hangars at the north end of Corundum. There's 50 tons of steel between them, and in less than 5 minutes they'll be hunting me, making a wall of treads and autocannon fire, whose sole purpose is to keep me away from the pack of APCs and technicals heading into downtown. 6 minutes, and I'm on them. The first tank is easy. Screaming out of the trees on flaring jets, I plant my hooves in the street right behind the closest Scorpion tank and let loose with both of my clan-grade medium lasers. Both hit, and when one cuts through to the drive and touches off the fuel, the whole tank detonates in a fireball so spectacular it makes even me hesitate. In an instant, I have the full attention of what remains of Phalanx's enforcers. I have almost every gun of consequence on the whole planet turning to point at me. I want that Wobby dead, King Phalanx bellows across the open channel, his voice raspy and wet with hate. I want all of them dead. Come and get me yourself, you coward, I scream back across all of the enforcer channels, beating my chest with one huge steel hand. King Phalanx shouts something back, but a burst of autocannon fire from the remaining Scorpion tank obliterates the words. Triggering my jets, I throw myself behind the cover of a brick-fronted general store as the tank turns its autocannon and Gatling gun to track me. The two APCs beyond it scatter into the streets, blasting out of Corundum at full speed and juking down side streets faster than I can track them. Doesn't matter. My attention is on the Scorpion tank anyway. It's ancient, older than the town around it, but the rounds its autocannon is capable of spitting at me are heavy enough that I don't want to catch even one in these streets if I can help it. 3 meters of the brick building I'm hiding behind vanishes with a boom. Fire from the Scorpion's autocannon, and all that's left is a haze of powder and shrapnel. I hit my jets again, flinging myself away as the tank trundles down the street with its ballistics trained on the spot where I was. I'm not there. I'm running at top speed around the back of the building, hurtling down the nearest alley and throwing myself at the side of the tank. Lasers cut hot lines from the emitters on my back, one going wide, the other eating up enough wheel and tread to stall the Scorpion in the middle of the street. The hit costs me. The autocannon on the tank swings before I can hit my jets. I duck, but not fast enough to avoid the impact. The high-velocity rounds bark out of the Scorpion's barrel, clipping me, knocking me tumbling, flailing backward into an abandoned work truck that crumples under my weight. Pain and silent warnings pound through my mind, but I hardly have enough time to register them before the Scorpion tank lines up for a second shot. Ammunition feeds in the turret whine as they ready the next volley of rounds. Steel fingers scrabble at the street as I flip myself over and hit my jets hard enough to send me careening into cover. The autocannon barks again, Gatling rounds chasing me as I go, but none of it connects. I am Blake's will made manifest, I tell myself as I fight to catch my breath. I am an instrument of the master. There is pain in my back, in my right shoulder, and the system diagnostics on the medium laser there are flashing red. When I reach up to touch the wound, I probe it gently, assessing the damage as best I can by touch. The whole muzzle and focal array of the clan-grade medium laser is ragged and weeping coolant like blood. Split and torn from autocannon fire, the cracked emitter lens and splintered cooling jacket hang from the ruins of the expensive weapon like a grim trophy. Half of my firepower is gone, and I'm losing critical fluids, but even knowing this takes none of the fight out of me. I am a sacred sword, I tell myself. I will see Blake's work done, or I will perish among the pyres I make of my enemies this day. One deep, steadying breath, and I'm moving again. The Scorpion doesn't seem either capable or willing to chase me, but the turret tracks my movement as I trigger my jets and go sailing into the sky. Autocannon fire cuts through the air, but the sun is at my back, and I'm moving fast enough that none of the rounds connect. When I land on top of the tank's boxy turret, the broken treads and tired motive systems start to grind and scream, but movement doesn't happen fast enough. Light from my remaining laser cuts straight down through the armored gunner hatch at the top of the tank and spears its way into the meat of the turret. The whole tank bucks beneath me, Alpha striking like some last death spasm, but I grip the tank and keep pouring blast after blast into the turret until the Scorpion goes silent. Small arms fire pings across my arms and chest as the tank burns, rifle bullets rising to pockmark my fire-scarred face. Standing and rising to my full height atop the corpse of the Scorpion, I turn toward the source only to find myself facing a platoon of King Phalanx's enforcers, armed with trashy Rimworld automatics. I give them a solid 3 seconds to reconsider their life choices, but they're either too stupid or too scared to do anything other than empty their mags at me in some futile attempt to do something more than irritate the monster that looms above them. None of the enforcers break when I step off the tank and throw myself at them. I don't stop when I hit the closest one, and I don't slow down. My body is 4 meters of steaming, sacred steel moving at 15 meters per second, and no amount of small arms fire I could soak as I rush into them could even be enough to make me flinch. Bones crack and snap as I slap men out of my way, flinging them toward walls and parked cars where they crumple into broken heaps. Fear. Terror. This is what I trade in as a Mane Domini. Their deaths keep the women of this world free. That is the will of Blake. That is what I was reborn as a Minotaur for. Half the platoon breaks and scatters the instant I'm in the midst of them. Automatics clatter against tarmac as the enforcers run, as they dive through open doors and past broken windows, scrambling to escape. This time, I don't chase them. This time, something else has my attention. Something bigger is coming to meet me. There's a crackle in the radio, a vibration in the tarmac. A blip jumps across my sensor feed, and it's the only warning I get. Data streams in from the word satellites, and I pick through it all as quickly as I can. 20 tons of steel is on the street, and it's moving at flank speed, bearing down on me. 20 tons of steel, 30 meters per second, and every step is like a crack of thunder. Spinning toward the source of the readings, I see the dust lifting off the road in regular beats. My heart races. I set my hooves firmly on the ferrocrete, and I warm up the beam emitter on my one remaining shoulder-medium laser, ready to unleash a fiery greeting. When the tall, boxy trooper TP-1R, King Phalanx's personal ride, rounds the corner of a boarded-up hardware store and trots out into the middle of the street, I hold off my shot for only a moment, my Minotaur's sensors making a feast of the details on the mech. Ancient, poorly maintained and held together with armor patches and vacuum tape, Phalanx's trooper is a rough and paltry offering as far as battle mechs go. It's a prototype variant of the Flea, one that somehow ended up in the hands of a periphery pirate with 600 years of wear and tear, all barely kept at bay with hand-tooled replacements, and Blake knows what else. The thing should be in a museum, not facing down the pinnacle of clan technology. At 8 meters and 20 tons, it's still a terrifying asset more than capable of putting the fear of God into the planet's civilian populace. It towers over me, twice my size, and then some. The two turret-like arms squeal and bark rust as they train their weapons on me. The rebuilt flamer slung under the chin of the mech already guttering, its fire-scarred muzzle dripping burning petrochem. I don't even get a warning before he opens fire. Then again, neither does he. I throw everything into my jump jets the instant a rush of flame comes searing out of his flamer. 78 meters of tarmac rushes beneath me in an instant, my hooking fingers carving ruts into the ferrocrete as the jets gutter out and leave me sliding to a stop. The trooper's laser fire and 20mm bullets follow me, trying to track me, but everything ends up in the road between us. Light explodes into my vision as I brace myself against the ferrocrete with hoof and claw and fire my remaining laser at him. Most of the shot connects, cutting upward, melting armor to slag in a line across the torso of the trooper, leaving it to flow like runnels of hot rain. Phalanx pivots away from me in response, his own hastily aimed weapons carving up the tarmac as I hit my jets and lead him down the street. 2 shots, 3, the chase. The exchange of fire only lasts a few seconds before King Phalanx realizes he's just wasting rounds. Rising up to its full height, the trooper suddenly stops, reorients its steely feet on the street, then does the last thing I expect. He charges me. The hit comes swift, connects solidly. Before I can even prime my laser for another burst, he hip-checks me with his mech, and I'm in the air, hurtling backward through the glass front of a silent diner and into the tangle of furniture, ferrocrete and steel supports inside. Machine gun fire chases me as I tumble, but in an instant I'm on my feet again, tossing chairs out of the way, baring teeth and screaming out all of the rage within me. Checkerboard tile cracks beneath my hooves as I turn and plow head first through the nearest wall and back into the street, scattering bricks and trash as I go. Phalax stays on me as I move. I don't dare try to turn and track him visually. My sensors and the satellite feed tell me everything I need to know. His lasers and ballistics are trained on me as soon as I'm in the street, so I don't stay there. I throw myself through the wall of the nearest building and run as hard as I can to the other side. Pinging machine gun rounds chase me as I go. Second-story floors collapsing behind me in powdery clouds of disintegrating acoustic ceiling tiles. Cubicles rise up ahead of me, but they blast apart as I put my horns down and rush through them, hitting my jets hard enough to send my body screaming through a pair of flimsy office doors and into the nearest alleyway. Flame gouts above me the instant I'm on the street again, clouds of petrochem falling out of the sky to roast me, but my jets keep me out of the worst of it. Cars packed into the alley leave me only one way out, and when I touch down again, I'm out in the open. It takes only the space of a breath for me to realize that the spray from the flamer was never really meant to catch me. With a steady, measured application of fire, the trooper has flushed me out of the tangle of abandoned buildings, and now I'm an easy target standing in the middle of an intersection with no cover in reach. My one remaining laser is hot, ready to fire, but straight on, the trooper will shrug off the hit and rip me apart with its cannons. Rust flakes fly from screaming joints as Phalax's trooper turns the full force of his guns on me, and in those barrels, I can see my death. Digitigrade. Mech legs flex, ancient myomer bundles singing and straining as Phalax pushes them further than anyone else has in generations. That's when it hits me. The legs. There's enough space between the trooper's feet for me to rush across the ferrocrete and get behind him. Machine guns flare, chasing me, tearing fresh holes in my arms and legs as I run at Phalax, but I swing left, right, then back again, hitting my jets so I come up parallel with his straining legs. Laser fire from my one remaining medium laser lances out at the speed of instinct, and somehow, it's enough. The joint between hip and left thigh on the trooper vaporizes, running molten as I pour energy into it. The leg whirs and seizes, squealing, throwing off sparks as the laser cuts through it, leaving Phalax wobbling as he tries to turn. His cannons rise as he stumbles, and then the whole mech suddenly flops forward onto the tarmac, crushing the chin-mounted flamer and bathing the whole machine in a cloud of roiling fire. I'm on the trooper before the flames even clear, before Phalax can throw his mech's failing strength into the butchered myomer and glowing, molten joints. I hurl myself through the smoke and haze and claw my way up his mech's laser-pitted torso to the cockpit. At 9 tons, my minotaur body is heavy enough to keep his trooper pinned in place, while the mech's legs surge and stretch, then finally go still. "Cancel the decree," I roar at him. Bloodied and leering in his cockpit, I can see the heat of his bruises, his wounds, his hot breath, the blood in his lungs. "Call it off, damn it! Don't make me kill you!" "You think it matters now?" He shows teeth, his trooper shuddering beneath me as he tries one last time to push the myomers to get his mech upright again. "Wabi women are cold and full of cybernetics, but at least they're valuable cybernetics. After the gas clears, we'll take what we want from your bodies." "Gas?" I ask. My heart freezes in my chest, hung up on his words. "What gas?" "You thought I'd come out here and face you without a backup plan?" He laughs, spitting blood at me. "Fools don't become kings of whole planets. Men with cunning and money do. My enforcers are loyal. I've got 10 men and 10 canisters of the good stuff already rolling in, hitting every hangar your people have built on my world. You've got nothing left except to surrender. Stand down, or you'll die with the rest of the toaster worshippers." Rage takes hold in me then. Rage like I've never felt before. The fire of the word burns so brightly in my heart that for a moment I am completely blinded by it. Everything is red. The cockpit of the trooper cracks and gives way under the beating of my fists, and by the time I regain enough of my sense to see, King Phalanx is pulped in his broken seat, unrecognizable. Running at full speed, it takes me only a matter of minutes to reach the compound, but every step, every breath feels like an eternity. All of my thoughts are on Diana. All of my thoughts are on the lover I left behind. Even before I reach the hangar, I know that I have lost her. Clouds of dirty orange smoke billow from the sides of the hangars in the compound, and I know that I am too late to save her. My legs feel heavy. It doesn't slow me. Somehow, I still try desperately to cling to some naive shred of hope. Somehow, I know that Diana has survived. Somehow, I believe it, if only because I could never live with myself if I lost her. The hangar where my prosthetics are stored is cracked but not open. I am not gentle with the door. I shove it aside, throwing myself into the haze, pawing at dirty orange nothingness until the gantry where my minotaur hangs when it sleeps comes into view. No sign of Diana. No sign of anyone, just the gas thinning on the wind as the coastal breezes pick up and catch it. When I find Diana, I find her in a pile of bodies at the far end of the hangar. The lockbox with the respirators in it still has a pry bar stuck into the curve of the latch. 3 pairs of hands are locked across the bar, and one of those pairs is Diana's. Someone must have lost the key to the box, I decide, blinking back tears as I settle down next to the pile of bodies. A stupid way to die. A stupid way to lose someone. The lock splits and jangles across the room with the barest press of my finger against the bar. 10 gas masks sit in the box like an afterthought, wrapped in plastic and locked away because no one ever thought we might have to use them. Biological weapons, chemical weapons, no one uses those anymore. No one except pirates and bandits. And the word of Blake. Maybe this is penance for all of the violence the word has inflicted on the worlds of the inner sphere during the jihad, I tell myself, like I can rationalize Diana's loss. For the first time in a very long time, my love for her overwhelms me, overwhelms all of my senses, and pushes me out of the feeds of the Minotaur just long enough for me to remember that I am not this steel beast. I am human. I am human, meat and bone crammed into the darkness of a protomech, and my face is running with hot, fresh tears. I don't know how long I sit there, crouched over Diana, waiting and crying in the middle of the pile of bodies. With nothing left to defend, with nothing left to fight for, I suppose that I'd probably have sat there until my joints rusted from the tears flowing so freely from my eyes. In the end, it's a shiver of static in the radio that brings me back, brings me to the present moment. A signal, a message. It's faint at first, but repeating, strengthening as cosmic forces draw together to bring fate and judgment right to our very doorstep. This is the jump ship countenance of the Stone Coalition. Terra has fallen. The word of Blake is no more. Surrender your mechs, your armor assets, your weapons, and your facility. Do this peacefully, and we will be lenient. Resist, and you will be destroyed. Lenient? Unlikely. To come this far out, to dedicate resources to seeking out our little enclave on a backwater world like Thatcher's Rest, it's safe to say that these men of the Coalition have only one purpose: vendetta. After all that the word has done to try to bring these warring barbarians back into the fold under our prophesied Second Star League, these men will have nothing on their minds but blood. Blood that King Phalanx has already taken. Reaching out for my Diana, I scoop her up gently into my huge hands. I cradle her lolling head as if she were only sleeping, and her hair falls around my fingers, running like rivulets from a stream. Holding her, my heart swells with need, with a wish that this steel body I've been welded into could cry, could hug her and feel her fading warmth, or kiss her blue lips one last time. Breezes blow in off the sea as I carry Diana out into the clear air and the sun. Already, the blocky wedge of a Leopard dropship is visible above me, centered over the sun, descending toward the surface. With only one of my medium lasers still functioning and half of my armor torn away by bullets and flame, my lone protomech could never hope to stand against whatever the Stone Coalition dropship might be carrying. Even surrender isn't an option. The Coalition would never let me keep my body. They would find a way to break the welds, to cut me out of my Minotaur, strip the meat from the steel, and keep us separate forever. All that I have left of my life is what I have in this moment. All I have left of my life is the fight ahead, and the fiery death that will surely come at the end of it. For I am an instrument of the Master. I remind myself, reaching out with one of my huge fingers and resting it against my lover's cold cheek, before I set her gently in the warm sand. I am a sacred sword. I am Jerome Blake's will made manifest. I will see his work done, or I will perish among the pyres I make of my enemies this day.